welcome to this episode of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast. My name is Jessica Lorimer. I'm a sales coach and leadership expert, and I'm really excited to be back on a sunny Monday. Obviously, I'm recording this in advance, so what I'm hoping is going to be a sunny Monday. And I'm really excited about today's topic. So today we're talking all about landing pages. So some of you might know them as squeeze pages, landing pages, those pages where you put in an email address and you magically get downloadable stuff for free. May also be the terminology that you're using, but ultimately that's what I'm going to be talking about today, and how to improve your landing pages so that you're actually maximizing your conversions rather than putting out really beautiful landing pages but not converting the traffic that you want. So it's kind of been a long week, right? I'm recording this. We obviously did the event. I got flu. We released the book. The book is now an Amazon #1 bestseller. Woo, woo, woo. So if you haven't gone and downloaded that on Kindle, make sure you go and grab a copy. If you are interested in the podcast and you want actionable exercises, the book is for you. It's got some really, really cool stuff at the end of each chapter that gives you an idea of how you want to go and plan out launches, new ideas to take into your business, helps you map out different sales opportunities. Lots of really cool stuff in there. So if you haven't gone and grabbed a copy on Kindle, make sure you go and do that. And it's also launching in paperback this week on Amazon as well. So if you want to grab yourself a paperback copy, you can go and do so. So anyway, it has been a long week. And also, I live in the UK, so it's also been raining. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm sat here, if it's a long week and it's sunny, I really don't mind. I'm actually like, oh, this is quite nice, because you work maybe longer hours, or you're waiting for something to happen. So you're kind of waiting for the pot to boil, not the boil to pot. But it feels longer. But when it's sunny, you kind of think, oh, well, that's nice. You know, you're tempted to sit outside and be a bit jazzy. When it's raining, it just sucks. So when it's raining and you're like, oh, things are going wrong, or I've got to do loads of work, or I've got a cold, or you're waiting for something good to happen. I'm waiting for my holiday in 3 weeks, 2.5 really, but who's counting? It gets a little bit long and a little bit dull. So if you are anything like me and you are currently experiencing a little bit of this sad cold winter weather needs to bugger off because it's driving me crazy, then I sympathize, because I'm all over that. In fact, our holiday, so we're going on holiday in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be away from the 10th of March. Very, very excited. It's going to be my first ever time skiing. I've never skied before, so it could be a mistake to go for a whole week with our friends who are all very good skiers. I have a feeling that I may spend an awful lot of time on my bum, which would be good. But I did actually brave it. I went for a dry ski slope lesson this week. And I know that dry ski slopes are very different from actual snow, but I went this week, had my first lesson. And if you know anything about skiing, then I was very, very proud of myself. I didn't fall over once. I managed to make it onto the adult slope. And the instructor said that my snowplow, which is just basically the way that you slow down on skis without looking like a muppet, was beautiful. So actually, I'm feeling like, even though this week has been a little bit miserable, it's been a little bit dreary weather-wise, I did achieve something. I learned to ski, and I have another lesson in a couple of days because I'm now at a point where I'm getting old. So I'm kind of achy. Like, I try a new sport and the next day I'm like, oh. So I thought I'd give it a couple of days and then go for another lesson. But it's all looking good. So hopefully I will be skiing in the next couple of weeks. I'll actually be able to stand up, not spend as much time on my backside, and have a really, really good holiday. But nevertheless, today we're talking about landing pages, and actually it all kind of relates to the skiing lesson that I had this week. Hence why I'm telling you about it, not just that I have a newfound love of skiing, although I do have that too. So let's talk about landing pages for a second and just look at why they're actually important to you. And I know that lots of people at this point will be like, Jess, of course I know my landing page is important. It's important that I get email addresses. It's important to build my list and make a ton of money. And that is very true. Okay, there is absolutely nothing wrong about that particular school of thought. However, landing pages don't just do that, right? And I want to be really open about this, because a lot of the gurus out there, particularly the sales ones, will tell you, yes, your landing page is where your relationship is formed. And so it's imperative that they convert people onto your email list so they can go and buy things. And to an extent, that's true. However, landing pages are not always the first place that people find you. Okay. So especially in this online world where we are putting out content pretty much daily, and the majority of people are, whether it's automated or whether it's live, we're putting out tons and tons and tons of content all of the time. Now, that means that we have two different sets of audiences who are entering our email list. It means that we have a warm set, so people who are perhaps in our Facebook groups, who already follow us on social media, who have maybe met us at networking events, and who are taking that extra step with us, right? They want to download something about us. They want to be on our email list. They want to get to know us. And then we have a cold audience. So the people who actually really are finding you for the very first time, and that might be more prevalent if you are running ads to your landing page, right? So you might be running a webinar to cold traffic. You might be getting people to download a checklist. You might be giving out a blueprint. There are literally tons and tons of things that you can do now. But the point is that a lot of the elements that we're going to be talking about today are going to be dependent on, where is this landing page going? Who are the people? Who are the target audience for it? Is it your warm audience or is it a cold audience? Okay. Now, I'm the first person to admit that your warm audience is going to be a lot more lenient on your landing pages than your cold audience, because ultimately it's kind of like being in a relationship. Okay. I speak from experience when I say that, 2 years, 3 years in, you kind of don't care if your boyfriend or girlfriend farts in bed, right? You're at that point where you're like, do I really mind if they tell me about their bodily functions? And you're like, nah, it's okay. It's not as gross as it would have been like 2-3 years ago. On a first date, however, I potentially would not kind of announce, hey, guess what procedure I had done last week? Or, hey, do you want to talk about my latest cervical smear? Or you just don't really want to go into that on the first date, right? You want to keep some things a little bit private until the kind of honeymoon period is over. And that's what you've got to be thinking about with your landing pages, because ultimately your warm audience are generally your 2 to 3 year partner. They're the people who already know you, they like you, they trust you, and actually they are consuming your content. They're trying to consume more of your content because they actually want to get to know you. They actually want to buy from you. They actually want to spend more time with you. They want to get more stuff in their inbox from you. And they're kind of not addicted to your content in a crazy way, but they really want to build that longer term relationship with you, right? So the people who are going to be accessing your cold landing pages are going to be really different, because ultimately those are the people who are the first date people. They want to see the all singing, all dancing, jazzed up, ready for a night out version of yourself. And so it can make them very difficult to create. Sometimes you're not going to use the same landing pages for both audiences. And I'd be, as we go through this episode, keep that in mind, because what I don't want you to do is waste tons and tons of time creating all singing, all dancing landing pages for people who already know, they've already made the decision, I want to sign up for this, and for whom the design makes zero difference, versus spending a ton of time on really doing your market research properly, really making sure that you have all the elements in other landing pages that are more appropriate for cold audiences. Okay. Lead pages, why do we need them? Yes, we do need to collect email addresses. Yes, we do need to indoctrinate people into the way that we teach or the content that we provide. And yes, ultimately, we do need to get them into our audiences, make them feel good, and show them exactly what it is that they could potentially be learning from us and that they can take away from the experience. That's the basic. Sales-wise, your landing page is not there for you to make money. So let's take that off the table right at the beginning. Your landing page is a relationship builder. It's a trust builder. It's designed to help people deepen the relationship they have with you. It's not there directly to make you money. Now, if you are somebody who studies funnels, then you might be thinking, but Jess, your thank you page can have upsells. And indeed it can. But today, what we really want to focus on is high conversion landing pages, not anything that comes after it, just the page itself, and what makes a high conversion page work so well. When we look at landing pages and why I'm okay to talk to you about it, is that my landing pages consistently over the last 3.5 years have gone up and up and up, right, in terms of conversions. So we started out when my business started 3.5 years ago, we were converting at 35%, which was still 15% above industry average. And now the landing pages in my business, we have over 24 landing pages currently in operation in my business, leading to different funnels, convert at between 72 and 91%. Okay, so with an industry average of 20%, we're doing pretty well when it comes to landing page conversions. And there are a few reasons for that. I'm going to share them all openly with you today. You can totally use them in your own businesses. You can go and make those things happen. And obviously, when they work, please send me an email. Let me know how you got on with them, because I'm always around to celebrate all the good things that people do with this information. So the first thing is that when we create a landing page in my business, before we even do anything with the actual page itself, before I look at what I'm actually going to give them, before I look at colors, copy, anything like that, I look at doing some market research. And I look at what are people actually downloading. Okay. Now, when we do this, obviously, we're going to have these two categories the whole way through, your warm audience and your cold audience. So when we do market research for the warm audience to see what they actually want to download, you'll see that there are posts, we've certainly talked on the podcast before, there are posts like, hey, what do you want to see? What kind of content would you like to see from me? And so people can pick, they might pick lead generation, they might pick sales trainings, they might pick talking about discovery calls. And so we give them options, and we usually give them 3 options because my power of 3 OCD makes me always want to give 3 options. But we usually give them 3 options. We ask people to choose. And that's my warm audience. And that's just to check that we're on the right line. Because sometimes, we come up with these great ideas for opt-ins, but actually nobody wants to download them. And that's a bit of a problem. And that can also lead to lower conversions, right? Sounds really simple, but we all forget it. So remember to do your market research. What is your audience currently downloading? Now, if you are trying to target a cold audience, you need to be looking at reverse engineering the process. So looking at your competitors. What are they currently putting out there? What kind of downloads are they putting out there? What kind of landing pages do they have? What's converting well and what is not converting well? Now, if you are somebody who really loves analyzing Facebook ads and who really likes getting into funnel hacking and all that kind of stuff, you can use tools like SimilarWeb. You can go and check that out. You can check out other people's adverts. You can check out how well their funnel is performing. There are lots and lots of little pieces of gold that you can use to analyze your competitors' traffic and where it's coming from. If you are not really that bothered about going around doing a ton of research into your competitors' offerings, I would advise that you scroll your own Facebook feed. Usually you will get targeted with your competitors' offerings. You can kind of see what is most popular from that. Typically, it will have lots of engagement, so comments rather than likes. Likes don't really mean anything. And you'll be able to see what they're doing. You'll be able to see what kinds of things that they're putting out there. Is it something that's easily consumable, i.e. a blueprint, a PDF? Or is it something that's more time consuming for your audience? Is it like a 3-step video series, a webinar, something that requires their attention for longer? Okay. So make sure that you're doing that market research, not only into what people are being provided with, so the actual download itself, but also into what the landing page looks like. Does it have a double opt-in? Is there a button to input their email address above the fold? Is it just a really simple page? Is it 3 pages long with lots of long form copy trying to convince them to put their email address in? You need to be checking these things out, because remember, your audience are seeing this stuff all of the time. So if you've suddenly come out there with something that's really, really different, it's going to give them a different impression. It's going to give them a different feel for you. It's going to make you stand out. But ultimately, it's also going to shock some people, and it might mean that they take 2 or 3 times of seeing the page to actually then come back and download. So you just have to be aware with market research that it's not about copying your competitors' funnels. It's not about copying their ads. Just because they're putting ads out doesn't mean that they're automatically successful with them. But it is about looking at, what is my audience most used to seeing? You know, is that what I want to do with the landing page? Is that something that would fit within my business model? Is that a download that I would be happy to give them? You know, is that something that I'd want them to learn from me? Or do I think there's something more advanced that I'd want them to pick up? You know, is that the right entry point? See, there's a bit of market research to do when it comes to landing pages, when it comes to making sure that you create something that converts really highly with your audience. And ultimately, the things or the landing pages that convert highest are going to be the ones where actually you've listened to what your audience wants and you're giving them exactly that. So if your audience have told you they hate long form copy and that they just want a box with the title of whatever the opt-in is plus somewhere to put their email address, give them that. Don't try and give them, 4 pages of long form copy to convince them to opt in for something that's actually free anyway. Don't waste tons of their time for something that's free, because ultimately we want to put the effort in where it counts, which is engaging with them afterwards, having the right email sequences and making sure that we're selling correctly. Okay. The second thing that we need to look at is, what type of landing page do you want to create? So for me, I look at how, in all honesty, how busy I am at that point in time. So landing pages are the one thing that I don't actually get my team to do. I like to do them myself. I find it really therapeutic. And I've spent 3.5 years studying my audience. So I know them really well. I know what they like. And for me, it's actually a really nice and quite easy job to just create simple landing pages that I know my audience will opt in for. So when I look at how I want to create a landing page, I look at how much time do I have, because ultimately I don't want to spend 3 hours doing something if I know that I have paying clients that I need to deliver to, or if I know that I haven't done enough sales activities that week and I need to make up revenue. So that's the first factor that goes into my landing pages. Now, there will be people listening who'll be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that you're not waiting for it to be perfect and that you're not thinking about how pretty it's got to look and all that kind of stuff. And I get it, right? Ultimately, though, I'm a business owner. My job is to create content, to sell, and to deliver, okay? To deliver an exceptional customer experience. My job is not necessarily to worry about the minor percentage of my audience, and it is a minor percentage in my audience. If you are obviously working in brand design, web design, graphic design, you may want to rethink this, because your audience will be concerned about visuals. But the minor percentage of my audience who are concerned about what it looks like, I don't really mind. We've never had an email in my business to date saying, because your landing page was really ugly, I never signed up. People may have thought it, they might have gone away and not signed up. But ultimately, over the last 3.5 years, we've grown a huge list of super engaged subscribers. And that's been a real plus, and it's been a real positive. Okay, so don't always go for what does it look like first. Instead, put your business owner head on and say, okay, how much time do I have to dedicate to this project? And would my time be better spent on other elements of this funnel, i.e. email automation, sales page, upsells, anything like that, actual delivery or creation of the landing page content that is being provided? And if it would, then stick with a simple landing page. Now, by simple, I do mean really simple. So if you are using ClickFunnels or anything, any kind of funnel building software, you'll find that they have a basic opt-in sign up page. And it's usually one box in the middle of the page that asks for their email address and their first name, and it gives them the title. That, my friends, has been an absolute godsend in my business. It's one of the most used opt-in pages that I use. We change the background, we change the colors, we change the titles, we integrate it obviously with my email autoresponder. But for my warm audience, that one template converts at above 70% all of the time. Okay, that one template. And the reason that it converts so well is because it says exactly what it's going to do on the tin. If you download this, you will get a blueprint about X or a webinar on X. There's nothing for them to think about. There's nothing for them to really talk themselves out of. There are no bullet points that talk about what they're going to get or what they can expect to achieve. This is for my warm audience who will have got to that landing page. And again, this is something else that's really important, who will have got to that landing page because they will have come directly from a post or an email or a message from me that says, you need to go and download this and then outlined the outcomes that they want from that piece of free content. Okay, so for your warm audience, a simple landing page like that is absolutely fine, as long as you have really thought about in your traffic source, so your Facebook post, your email, how to phrase it so that your audience knows what they need to download or knows why they need to go to your landing page in the first place. Okay. I'm going to talk about congruency in a minute with regards to copy, but that's the first thing. So that one opt-in box, if you're sat there thinking, actually, Jess, I've got a really warm audience and, I know what it is they want. I can create a landing page. My advice would be create something super simple, stick one opt-in box and a title in the bang smack in the middle of your page, and you will get a high converting opt-in page as long as your traffic source, your copy there is congruent with the title of whatever it is that you're putting on that page. Okay, so that's my super secret tip, if you like. Now, if you're going with a cold audience, obviously this will only be the second touch point that they have with you. Okay, so if you've got a cold audience, and let's say you got them from a Facebook ad, so the Facebook ad is their first point of contact, this landing page is their second point of contact. So actually, you may need, not justification, but you may need to spend more time on that congruency factor. Okay, now what I mean by that is that your traffic source, so your Facebook ad, let's look at one of mine, for example, says, grab your free Supersize Your Sales guides in order to learn, and then we have 3 outcomes. Okay, and that's the ad. It's very, very simple. So the Supersize Your Sales Guide will help you build relationships with your audience quicker, will help you communicate your own value, and will help you maximize your profits. That's it. It's really, really simple, really easy. When we click over to the landing page for that cold audience, you'll see that the landing page for that says exactly the same. It outlines, hey, this is why you're here. This is what you can expect to get from the Supersize Your Sales Guide. It outlines those same 3 bullet points, so it tells them exactly what they can expect to achieve, and it gives them 2 opportunities to download that guide. So there's one at the top and there's one at the bottom of that page. Now, the reason that we spend not a little bit more time on the cold audience, but that we spend more time on the copy and the congruency for the cold audience is because when they are only having 1 or 2 points of contact with you, it's important that they see you as being consistent. It's important that nothing in the copy makes them think, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or this isn't entirely what I thought I was signing up for. So we want it to be a consistent, congruent experience. And also we want it to be the kind of experience that establishes our brand for them. So your landing page will also familiarize your brand with people. It will get people to think, oh, Jess uses pink and teal, or Jess uses gold titles. And so every time they see those things, their subconscious is like, oh, Jess uses that. Okay, so it's quite a good way to ingratiate yourself into your audience's memory, but that's only if you are congruent. So let's say you have a Facebook ad and it's got, I don't know, a troll on it, and then you click through to this beautiful black, gold, red landing page with all these fancy fonts, and it's all, very, very kind of zen and beautiful. Your brain immediately will be thrown out, because that wasn't the experience you just had with a basic Facebook ad with a troll on the front cover. It's not congruent. It doesn't make sense. So it's not just about the copy. It is also about the visuals. The other thing that works really well on landing pages to get high conversions, and this is particularly for webinars, is to put a picture of yourself on there. People like to know who they're going to be talking to. So if you're running a webinar or you're running a video series, it can actually be a really, really good idea to have your face on that landing page. It puts people at ease. We like to know who we're buying from. We like to know who we're spending time with. And having that face it gives them a kind of human touch. It gives them a human element. Now, you can also take that one step further and you can create a video landing page. Now, I've got a video landing page for a list building course that I run, and it performs really well because on the landing page itself, we talk through what is the point in building your list. Do you really know if you need email automation in your business? What kinds of people need email automation? How does it work? What kind of sales can it lead to? And so that video, it's informative, it's educational, and it makes people self-identify. Actually, is this something that I need to learn about, or can I just leave it behind? The answer is no. Everyone needs an email list. Just want to throw that out there. Everyone needs an email list. But it's one of those things that people enjoy seeing people. We enjoy communicating. We enjoy connecting. We like to see body language. It makes us feel good. It makes us feel safe. So actually, video landing pages are really popular and they do work really, really well. There is also a caveat to this, and I want to put this out there because I get so many people who say, Jess, what about adding a deadline timer? What about ugly versus pretty landing pages? What about long form versus short form? Now, the thing is, it comes down to testing ultimately. Okay. Now I've got 3.5 years in business. I've got 24 active funnels right now that make money every single day, which obviously I'm very grateful for. But my business didn't start like that. We started with one funnel, just like everyone else. And I had to test it and tweak it to make sure that it was the most efficient that it possibly could be. And a landing page is only one section of that. So you're going to have to, if you want to put landing pages into your business, if you want to put funnels into your business, you're going to have to get okay with the fact that you're not always going to hit on the right thing immediately. And that actually, it's not about picking the most popular option. It's not about going, oh, well, Jess does video pages and they work really well, so I'm going to do a video page. It's about looking at yourself as a seller, right? If you hate being on video and you do a video landing page, you're going to look like somebody when you're on the video who is self-conscious. You're going to look scripted. You're going to look concerned. Ultimately, that's not the kind of vibe that makes people want to sign up for your content and devour it immediately, because the alarm signals go off in our brains. We look at your body language and we think, well, if that person's concerned about giving us something for free, crikey, what's wrong with it? Why are they so concerned? Why are they worried? And it sets those internal alarm bells going. Whereas if you know that actually you are a phenomenal writer and you can write a really persuasive piece of copy for a Facebook ad or for your warm audience that says and demonstrates exactly why they need to download this amazing resource, and then you put that on a landing page, that's going to convert like gangbusters. Okay, so there is going to be an element of testing to this. There's going to be an element of it's not going to perform necessarily at 70% immediately, but also there's going to be an element of what do you actually enjoy? How do you enjoy communicating with your audience? The other element to this is that ultimately, if we create a landing page, so say, again, we'll use the video versus written example. We create a video landing page. Our audience expects that we like to connect via video. So actually, the rest of the content they see from you, they're expecting to be video-based. They're expecting Facebook Lives, video series, webinars, that kind of thing where they actually see you. Now, if you're a video hater and you're thinking, oh God, there is nothing worse than having to batch create content for YouTube, you probably don't want to start with video landing pages, because that person's first point of contact with you, and therefore their assumption of you is that is a person who wants to communicate with me visually. And so if the rest of your content is written, again, it can be incongruent. It can be difficult for people to make the connection, and it can make them feel uncomfortable. Okay, so make sure that when we are talking about these ideas of congruency, when we're talking about testing, when we're talking about warm audience versus cold audience, you're actually thinking in this process, how do I enjoy communicating with people? How do I enjoy teaching my audience? Am I somebody who enjoys video? Am I somebody who enjoys the written word? Even if you're an audio person, you can absolutely have audios on landing pages. I've never tried it, so I can't give you any stats on how it would convert. But to be quite honest, if you had a good audio over like, what do they call them? Those animated videos, like cartoon videos, slideshow videos, and you had an audio over the top, people would love it. And this is the thing, you can get creative as long as you're enjoying it, then it doesn't matter. Your audience will enjoy it if you do. So if you are genuinely somebody who really loves communicating via the written word, that will stand out on your page. You will have fun with your copy. You'll make it interesting. You'll make it engaging. You'll refer to people in certain ways. So someone pointed out the other day that they felt like I, air quotes, hit on people with my landing pages, because I refer to people all the time as gorgeous or lovely or sweetheart or whatever. And that's just because I'm British and that's just how we speak. So I don't think anything of it. But for other people, they're like, oh my God, you call me gorgeous. That's so nice. So for all those people, you are absolutely gorgeous. And I appreciate you. But it is that kind of thing, if you are somebody who uses those kinds of terms of endearment with your people regularly, if you're signing off your emails love, or if you're writing hey hun, or all these kinds of things, it doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. So your landing page should look like that too. You've got to keep it in your style, in your tone, and ultimately you've got to make it relevant to your audience, because landing pages aren't just there to get a ton of people to sign up to your email list. They're there to weed out people who are not right. They're not the right fit for you. They're not the right fit to be in your audience. Okay, so if the fact that I call people gorgeous turns some people off, that's good. I'm weeding the right people out of my audience. I'm immediately establishing that I'm not for them and that my content probably is not going to be for them. Okay. So you want to be thinking about that. How do you show up online? How do you show up in person? Is that coming through? Is your personality being injected into this landing page? And if your personality is there, and if it is congruent with the traffic source, so the post or the ad or however you've got these people to go to the landing page in the first place, and if your downloadable promises to be interesting, informative, educational, and actually give people a desired outcome, then you really don't have to worry about whether it's an ugly background or a pretty one, long form or short form, whether it's on ClickFunnels or your own website. It doesn't make any difference. Landing pages are very much defined on, is your personality there? Are you bringing the right people in or encouraging the right people in? Are you weeding out the people who you are not for? Is it clear what the audience will get from the downloadable resource? Is that clear to them? Are the outcomes there? Don't talk about features, talk about benefits. What's the benefit of them downloading this blueprint or checklist or sitting for an hour and listening to this webinar? What are the benefits and the clear outcomes of that, rather than the features of you're going to get a 30-page PDF, or you're going to have to sit there and listen for 45 minutes plus 15 minutes Q&A. Those things aren't sexy. We don't download things because we want to read an extra 30 pages in our day. We download things that are going to make life easier. We download things that are, teaching something that we feel we still need to learn. We download things that are promising transformation and change. Now, that doesn't mean you have to cram your 6-month one-to-one program into one free PDF, but it does mean that your opt-in has to actually give value. And I can't stress this enough. We talk about the features of the landing page, what it looks like, the congruency of your copy, those things. But we also have to remember that your download has to be something that people actually want. We have to go back to that market research piece and really look at what is going to be beneficial to your audience, what's actually going to help them, what's going to get them one step further. And is that then congruent, that free offer, is that then congruent with anything that you actually sell? Okay, because this is the key thing. Lots of people come to me, they go, I've got this landing page, converts really well, but I don't sell anything from it. Well, if your offer is completely different from your free offer, then it's very unlikely that you're ever going to sell something from that perspective. Because if it's too different, people just can't, they don't take the journey. It would be like telling someone who lives in the UK to drive to Canada. They'd be like, well, how? I'd have to cross the sea twice, maybe 3 times, and I'd have to, have a boat for a car. They can't see how that journey pans out. Whereas if you say to somebody in the UK, so in London, and you say drive to Scotland, yeah, it's a long drive, but they can see the motorway that they'd need to take. They understand the route. And that's what you've got to be thinking about with your landing page, is that it's not just about the page itself. It's about all of those things. So are you going to warm traffic or cold traffic? Have you done your market research around what they actually want to download and what they're seeing most often? Is the content or the copy on your traffic source, so your ad or your post or your email, congruent with the outcomes that are promised on your landing page itself? Does the landing page have your personality, either in terms of copy, in terms of video, or in terms of the way it looks? Does it match your brand? Is it visually appealing to your audience? And if you have all of those things, then your landing page will convert at a high rate. But you are going to have to test it. You are going to have to tweak it. And you are going to have to remember that, as with anything, there are always going to be variables. We're running traffic from different sources all the time. And the people who respond best to the adverts that I'm putting on Facebook and those landing pages don't necessarily respond as well to the adverts that we put on Instagram or the landing pages that we use there. Some people convert better from a blog into an opt-in on that blog itself rather than going to a landing page. So you do have to think about, just because one traffic source lends itself to really high conversions, it doesn't mean that the same thing will happen across the board. It's not just the job of the landing page. It's everything that goes into that particular customer journey. Okay, so when you're looking at these things on their own, the basic things that you need to remember with a landing page are that obviously your copy needs to be good, whether it's written or verbal, video or audio. It needs to focus on the outcomes rather than the features. It needs to have adequate places for people to sign up, so opt-in boxes to put their email addresses in. And I would recommend, depending on the length of the page, 1, 2, or even 3 boxes, depending on how long your copy is, how long your page is. And it needs to be easy. It needs to be simple for them to sign up. It doesn't need to be a 30-step process for them to, click through different videos and eventually manage to sign up for the one thing they wanted to download in the first place. It just needs to be an easy, simple page that's easy to navigate and that makes it easy for them to opt in. Buttons need to be eye-catching. It needs to be easy for them to understand where to click, what to do, where to put their information. And it also needs to be clear what's going to happen next. Is their information protected when they sign up with you? Is there a double opt-in? Do they need to confirm a subscription somewhere? So that your audience knows how they're going to get their information, what it's going to look like, what they can expect next, and knows that they can stop searching. Okay? Within those variables, obviously, we do need to consider other things. And maybe that's something that I'll, if people are interested in, I'll look at doing episodes on those variables. Things like, how can you make it so that your landing pages will convert higher depending on what kind of ad you use or what kind of traffic source you have, or, you know, an in-depth breakdown perhaps of some of the best performing landing pages that I have in my business, and the traffic sources that we use, and the kinds of copy that we have or images that we have that make them convert at that rate. If people would like that, you know, if you'd like me to do an episode like that where I do break it down in my business, all you've got to do, drop me an email, jessica@jessicalorimer.com, or just go into the free Facebook group, the Smart Leader Sales Society on Facebook. The link is in the show notes. You can go and join in there and just tag me and say, Jess, I'd like to see that. You know, I will happily do an episode on that. We'll do a breakdown, and I'll make sure that we put the links in the show notes so that you can actually see what I mean, and how our landing pages convert, what kind of campaigns we're running, and why. So if that's of interest to you, make sure that you do tag me, make sure you do email me, and I'll make sure that we do a kind of breakdown episode of that. But for now, really, when it comes to creating landing pages, my biggest piece of advice is to keep it simple. Do not worry about what everyone else is doing. Worry about what your audience wants. Worry about what they need to download, and worry about whether your landing page reflects the person, the business owner that you really are, the outcomes that your audience really wants from this piece of free content, and makes it easy for them to download. And I promise you, if you focus on those things, you will not go wrong. I'm really excited to join you again on Friday. We have an awesome guest with a great question coming in for this Friday's episode. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. And I will be back on my own with the next Monday deep dive session in a week's time. I will see you in the next episode.